Designated Survivor Episode 16, Party Lines. I actually enjoyed this episode. They kind of did a flip from the last episode where it was kind of a focus evenly on the espionage and spy stuff going on in the politics that was kind of introduced in the last episode. This episode kind of touched a little bit on the espionage and stuff. We got to see Atwood and Wells go to this missile silo, which is just filled to the brim. By the end of the episode, we find out it has all the bombs, the same type of bombs that were used to blow up used in the initial attack, and then more than enough to commit the crimes that were possibly going to be implemented from the schematics we saw in this episode. So it touched on that. Didn't really get too much into it, but I like those small portions that they did give us. They gave us like a tiny bit with Jason, which I thought was cool, where he was like, I'm glad you brought me along, because I thought I'd have closure after killing the woman that, this is the first person he met that was involved with killing his son. And he's like, I didn't feel it. I didn't get that closure I wanted, so I want to take down all of these people. So thanks for, kind of having me along. So I thought that was nice. Most of this episode, though, focuses on Bowman and his kind of attempted rise to the top, where it's like he's kind of making enemies out of both sides of the fence, because, of course, he's making an enemy out of Kirkman, and he's also making an enemy out of Hookstradden, who's actually a fellow Republican for him. So I thought it was interesting the way things were playing out, and Aaron is kind of giving Hookstradden some advice, like he's trying to, take you out at the knees. You kind of need to show him who's in charge. And Bowman, through this whole episode, I kind of liked him just watching it, because I was like, I hate this guy so much. But going through, he's, talking with Hookstradden and stuff, and she's kind of trying to tell him, like, rein it in. He's like, you're the last of the old guard and stuff, so you either need to basically, get in line or get out of the way. And I was like, oh man, he kind of stood up to her. And then, as things continue on, it's kind of this back and forth about, who they need for the vote. And sometimes they end up losing Democrats, they end up gaining some Republicans, and it was going really back and forth until the end of the episode. But I like the way everything was playing out. And, they have like a little scene where, and I swear I keep forgetting her name, but Kirkman's wife, I don't know why I have this weird issue with remembering her name out of everyone's name. But she goes to speak with one of the senators, and that's when she ends up running into Bowman. And because of that scene where she's able to, he's trying to do his thing where he's trying to confront her and kind of make her look bad, she's able to kind of flip it on him, and he didn't look so happy when she kind of explained it the way that she did. And I love that scene. And then we find out that that actual scene is what led to them winning the vote at the end, because there's a woman who was a Republican whose husband always voted against more gun control or anything like that. So everyone assumed that she would, and she ends up voting against it, and that's actually ultimately what ends up helping everyone. So I thought that was a nice little way to do it, where, they're just going back and forth, and they're waiting on, like, that one person where it's like, she's kind of right in the lines, like, she could say yes and we get it, she could say no, and, the woman ends up saying no, so they were freaking out, like, oh crap, we lost it. But it was a cool way to do the episode, and then going through and Bowman being defeated not only by Kirkman, but by Hookstradden, kind of put him in his place. So Hookstradden now has like this little thing where, she's somewhat owed a favor by Kirkman based off of what she did, talking to some extra Republicans, even going back and talking to his old friend who, even though they knew each other and stuff, was like, hey, I'm a Republican, I just really, can't go against, what's about to happen here. So he, isn't able to do it, but she's able to convince him. So I like the way they kind of played around with that. And she mentions that she doesn't really care about vice presidency. She doesn't want to be attached to a lame duck. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, okay, she's really biding her time at this point. She's definitely biding her time in order to have a better position. So I thought that was actually cool the way that they went about it. But really excited for where we're headed this next episode. I think, what they learned about the silo is going to lead to some more interactions, because they mentioned that there are a couple other places that they knew about, on the map. So I was like, all right, well, they know this old organization that used to be, I believe was a PMC, a paramilitary corporation, or private military corporation. So they mentioned a couple of different locations, but they only checked out the silo in this episode. So I feel like we got a couple more locations for them to go to. Not all of them can be abandoned. I would have to assume someone has to be somewhere. So I think we'll get some more interactions out of that in, upcoming episodes. But I like the way this one played out. They're able to get their bill. It was a huge success for Kirkman, because of course this was like, the first 100 days sort of deal. And this was the first really big thing that, it's the hot button issue, and it's really divisive and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool the way that they went about it. And I was like, all right, I like how this is played out, and we have things kind of going back and forth with, both parties, where it's like, all right, well, we have this person over here saying like, hey, can you do this or can you do that, and Aaron's doing his own thing. So we see that both sides of the party and how everyone kind of has to really work hard and talk with old friends. Even the former president has to talk with his old friend, and I love the way he did. He was like, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for the country, and he was like. And I'm not really asking. The guy looked like he was legitimately scared. And I just always think it's funny the way they write the former president's character, because he's just like that cool guy who's super tough and everything. And even when they go into the boat, he comes in like it's like we're watching a funeral, and he brings in pizza and stuff. And I'm like, they just make this character seem like the coolest dude ever, because he's just like super tough, and everything he's done, at least so far, has been like just perfect, and it always works for him. So I just like the way they do that, because it kind of makes it funny watching it, where I'm like, no matter what struggles the other characters have, I feel like the former president is just going to be like, it's easy street for him. He can just go straight through stuff. So it's just kind of funny watching his character and how they, somewhat developed him a little bit extra in this episode. But I certainly enjoyed it. I'm definitely looking forward to getting back to, of course, the espionage and stuff. Although I think this was actually a good episode for the political stuff, because admittedly, with all the insanity of the series, they didn't really get to touch on a lot of the political stuff, and I actually think they do it well, which I mentioned in the last episode. I actually like how they do the political stuff in this, and it's always the crazy political stuff, plus of course we have underlying secret organization, organized terrorists, or organized terrorists, unorganized. But I like the way they're doing it, but I'm glad to see that things seem to be going back to like the really crazy route. Based on the promo, it may not have anything to do with the actual organization, but a lot of things just seem to be really iffy. And there's stuff with Kirkman where he's super pissed off, and it's supposed to be nice and happy. Seemingly Bowman is still kind of messing with them a little bit, so we'll see how that plays out. But it's just like them having passed this law now, they have to make sure they work together to get rid of all the crappy wording that's in it, to allow people to kind of slip through the cracks. So they made it work, and now they have to kind of revise it. And I feel like that's what's going to be the big issue for the next episode, where you still have people constantly fighting them, even though it's already voted upon. Things that just seem to keep things at a standstill. So I am actually looking forward to that, but definitely excited to see where they go with the espionage and some of these other locations that they referenced. Maybe we'll get some more stuff. I mean, considering the fact that this was a former organization that was like constantly hired by the government, I wouldn't be surprised if we find a couple of characters that we've already seen, maybe a couple episodes down the line, we find out that they've been involved the whole time too, because it's like, oh, they mentioned I think it was like the Pentagon went straight to them during certain attacks or something like that. It was like, yeah, this company was constantly hired out by the government. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if even if it was like, in passing, some random characters we've seen end up being involved or something like that. Because I'm like, oh, that's quite the connection to have, and it makes sense how that sort of stuff comes into play. So looking forward to how they do that. But like I said, we're getting into more of the political stuff, and I think, especially considering this how an issue, the way they're doing it, where you have people who want it, have people who don't want it, and then you see the inner workings of that within the house, where you have people that want it and have people that don't want it, and all the little political workings and favors and things like that. So looking forward to how that ends up playing out in these next couple of episodes. I would assume that the Bill stuff is probably going to be taken care of by the next episode. I don't see it really going super far. It's like the big issue, the big political thing for like the rest of the season. I don't think they'll really be focusing on it that much, but we'll see how it plays out. Ultimately, I just don't think that that's going to really be the case, but we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. We'd love to know where you guys think we're headed as far as this secret organization. Like I said, we get to the silo and they find all the grenades and stuff like that, but it's completely empty. They just have them that's like their stockpile location that's hidden in plain sight. So I would love to know where you think we're headed next with the espionage stuff. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.